I run across this all the time where I see memes or comments of, no, I'm not going camping, or if it's a really luxury tent perfectly set up like a hotel room, okay, fine, now I'll go camping. But really,
I've seen those.
You've seen those, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the real aversions people have generally camping, and then maybe more specifically RV style?
There's so many.
All right.
I mean,
let's discuss. Welcome to the RV Small Talk podcast, where we talk about lightweight trailers, truck campers, and the people, places, and adventures that go along with them. We are your hosts from Princess Craft RV in Round Rock, Texas. I am Clint.
I'm Lindsay Luhu.
And we do not have PJ. She is out and about, gallivanting or something, but she'll be back someday, somehow.
She's camping.
Some way,
Okay.
somehow. Either way. Welcome to the podcast. If you would like show notes for this episode or any other episode that we have ever recorded and released, head on over to rvsmalltalk.com. You can find show notes and other things. Don't forget that right now we have up on the website our 2021 holiday gift guide. So head on over, see what our choices are for the neat, the zany, the weird, the
useful, the helpful.
Oh, yes.
There's so much stuff on there, and it is Amazon. So you still have time because they ship in like 2 days. So you still have plenty of time. Hop on there. We are affiliates, so it does not cost you anything, but it does help out the RV Small Talk podcast. So thank you in advance.
We've already made enough money for one Keurig coffee pod.
Ah, thank God, because this coffee is gross.
Let's hop into the reasons why people just are so averse to camping. Lindsay, do you have any friends that simply will not camp?
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
They're just like,
we're calling them out.
I want their addresses.
I'm taking them a tent.
I mean, I think I was probably one of those people for at least a little bit. It just didn't sound like fun. It sounds like work. It sounds gross. I mean, there's so many reasons why you shouldn't go camping. So I understand it, but I don't know. Well, I mean, one of the main reasons I always hear is like bugs. Okay.
Yeah. I hear bugs too. And I guess I kind of get it because I'm not the biggest fan of bugs on me.
I am.
You are. So this is not your reason at all. This is
not my reason.
This is a reason to go because you might see interesting bugs.
Yes. And I guess the thing that always I thought was really funny was, I don't know, I guess I've never been camping and had like, well, I had that bug crawl in my ear that one time.
Oh.
That was bad.
Is this a podcastable story? Is it worth 2 minutes?
It was the night before I got my driver's test. What? I went camping with my friends. We didn't have a tent or anything, so we just slept on the ground with some blankets.
Yeah.
And I woke up with a horrible pain in my ear, and turns out it was a beetle. They could see its butt, but they couldn't get it out.
Wow.
And it went all the way in.
And it couldn't turn around.
It couldn't turn around. And it was, I remember it being like one of the worst pains I've ever had. And eventually
he's like playing the drum on your tympanic membrane.
He just kept getting further and further in there. And eventually we found some vodka. I'm not sure where it came from or how it made its way into our campsite.
So you like drunk him out?
But I remember having the bright idea to pour vodka into my ear, and it stopped the beetle from moving.
Yeah.
So it stopped hurting, but it never came out. And then I went and took my driver's test, and I passed with a 70.
Oh.
I hopped a curb, and I didn't look in my mirrors the whole time.
Well,
which isn't really part of the story, but I like to blame it on the bug because, y'all, I'm a really good driver.
Well, so maybe it was messing with your equilibrium because it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
By your semicircular canals.
That's definitely what happened.
Okay. Chalk it up. Hey, you passed. You passed. You couldn't hear anything on your left side, but you passed.
The doctor said it probably just decomposed and fell out in pieces.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's really
disgusting.
Okay. Yeah.
But back to this. I guess when I think about it, I'm like, when I go camping, it's not like there's like bugs all over me and you see a bunch of, I mean, like the same amount of bugs you see when you go to the park.
So the bugs that bother me And I think most people will have complaints about mosquitoes. I think the mosquito issue is the big one.
Yeah,
Maybe biting flies, because I run into those in some
Are biting
locations.
flies and no-see-ums the same thing?
No, like I call them horse flies. I don't know if they're actually horse flies.
Oh, the opposite of no-see-ums.
Those suckers are big and
I
they
can
will make
see
you bleed.
'em.
Yeah. So those things I tend to think will cause people to have like epic "I'm no longer doing this" moments.
You know, I don't think I've ever been camping and been like actually like swarmed by mosquitoes.
Yeah. I think that's one thing, that you like sites that are near the water and have a breeze and things like that. Those things really help. Open spaces that have continuous breeze do help with that. I've been in some more swampy places.
Yeah.
And I grew up near the coast of Texas. So if you're inland a little bit, that water kind of stagnates some in the marshy areas, and it's just a breeding ground.
I also have never been, I mean, like mosquitoes bite me all the time. I live in Texas, but I've never been one of those mosquito magnet people. Like if somebody else is with me,
they're going to get them.
Yeah. I'm fine. Other people are my bug repellent.
I remember growing up, I was probably high school, and I got roped into church league softball. And this is hilarious because I didn't play any sports growing up.
Yeah, picturing you playing softball is funny.
Super gangly, didn't really know what to do. I have no accuracy when I'm throwing stuff. You know, I've tossed you things here in the office and it's way off.
I still catch them though.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't. They still just hit me in the head. But anyways, I'd be out there, and church league softball in Victoria, Texas is an experience, because that's exactly where the mosquitoes are. And I don't have, usually I'm that person that mosquitoes are like, hey, there's someone better somewhere else. But in those outfield areas, there is no one else.
You're just standing out there in a field, just getting attacked.
You come back just bloodied up because you're using your softball glove to whack them. And it's relentless. And you end up like, I don't know, feeling like drained, literally.
Gross.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. So bugs.
But we both have had stories about bugs that were obviously somewhat traumatic. So maybe this fear of bugs, I mean, it really is just everybody's got a bug story that scared them. And it's more about just, I don't want to deal with that again.
Yeah.
Bugs. Okay. Other creepy crawlies.
Do they you said in camping experiences, other than that one camping experience, you haven't really had much issue with bugs.
No, like me and my kids go find bugs and like poke at them and talk about them, but
boop, boop,
we haven't had a problem with them. No.
Yeah. And campsites and campgrounds all over the place. I also have not run across many bugs. Now, I've done the large part of my camping growing up in like state parks, which I think have high traffic and designated camping areas. But lately, as an adult, I've gone to less used locations.
And more bugs? And
I would think more bugs, but that hasn't really been the case.
Well, bugs don't really want to be around you either.
Apparently, I'm a little hurt about it.
I mean, they want your food, but like, that's not in a bug's nature. Like, there's this giant loud thing. Let's go towards it.
Right.
I mean, same with snakes or spiders. They don't want to hang out with you.
Sure.
They don't like you.
Yeah.
You feeling good?
No. So anyways, for many of us, I think that if we can frame it with how little interaction we're actually going to have with bugs on the norm, then that's a hurdle I can get over. I obviously have. I don't worry about it. I'm in the ranch.
Jeans and hiking boots really
go a long ways.
Yeah. You feel like invincible.
Yeah. And with modern fabrics and all that, you can have a real breathable long sleeve shirt and things like that for your hikes and outings. You know, you'll protect your skin, not only from things that might touch your skin like bugs, or even, keep your skin from getting all leathery in the sun. High-tech fabrics, you can stay covered.
That's another camping aversion. That's actually one that I can really relate to because again, lived in Texas my whole life. I hate the sun. I mean, I love the sun, but the sun does not love me. And I sunburn in I don't know,
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, really,
I've seen it happen. In
it's
fact,
terrible.
my family's gone camping with your family, and I think that your family got lost or something because they were using you as an SOS signal. What's that bright light over there?
I mean, jeez, it's terrible. So, not that I don't like the sun, but if I'm going camping in the summer, especially with my kids, I have to prepare. It's a lot of work.
It was a little bit weird to me when, in the middle of the night, I hear you and your kids outside going, nighttime is the right time. Nighttime is the right time.
I mean, yeah. The moon doesn't burn me, man.
No.
So it's just a lot more work, but I can see how that would deter people from going at all because I have to apply sunscreen every 45 minutes. I have to constantly wear a hat, constantly be hot. That's why I really like camping near water because it makes all of that worth it when I can jump into the water and get wet.
So I think that some of the ways that we deal with the sunlight, the sun burns and all those issues, reapplying sunscreen and hats and clothing and all that preps, I think that I would actually categorize this in it sounds like work and effort that I don't want to be spending time doing. Whereas at home or in a hotel situation or something like that, I don't have to worry about that so much. So I think the aversion there is actually work and effort.
Yeah. That's most of my aversions to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it can all be really boiled down to how much work am I really willing to put into this?
Would you say that, going back to the creepy crawlies, that you think there's a large portion of the population that really has an aversion to, or thinks that they're going to run across snakes and bears and mountain lions and lions and tigers and bears and lions? You think they think that they're going to run into that often?
Yes, because you see it everywhere.
Okay.
Right? Like TV shows, movies, everybody's got a story about a snake. Social media, you see like those crazy, like longest snake ever found.
Yeah, I think that's probably it, is that you hear the best stories or worst stories, depending on your take, and those rise up to the top.
Yeah.
It's not actually all that common.
No, because again, snakes don't want to be around you.
Right. Bears don't want to be around you. They want to be around your food, but they don't really want to be around you.
Bears don't want to be around you. I don't know. I guess the bear thing I'm a little bit separated from because Texas,
Well, but they're coming back in Texas. They're starting to find them again in Texas.
Yeah, I just not in the place. I guess it's just
not coming to a backyard near you.
No. Mountain lions for sure, but I don't have like a live goat tied up outside my camper, just bleeding.
Right.
So.
Okay.
I said bleating.
Yeah.
Not bleeding.
I understand. I got
okay.
You. Bleating.
Just when I said it, I was like, that sounded bad.
I feel like you need to give us an audio example of what bleating is. Yep. That's a bleat. Okay. All right. What about this? What about from a discomfort factor, dirtiness? You think that we're all so clean and tidy these days that people...
Are we clean and tidy?
See, I don't know. I don't know that we actually are, but maybe in our minds we kind of build it up that way, and we don't like the grit and grime factor that we associate with going outdoors.
I mean, it can be uncomfortable. Crawling into a sleeping bag when you're like covered in dirt is not fun.
Or that day's layer of sweat.
Yes.
Has crusted on your skin.
Sunscreen, and then the dirt that is stuck to the sunscreen, and then the sweat, and then the second layer of sunscreen, and then the dirt that is stuck to that sunscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done that before.
So do you think that that's kind of a larger issue with people? They're just thinking, I just like being clean. I don't like being in that kind of state.
Probably some people, the same people who are afraid of bugs, maybe.
Maybe. And I think, again, so how you deal with that sounds like effort and work. Now I will say there's skin sensitivities out there. And if you can't, continuously stay on top of some sort of regimen to make sure your skin doesn't, break out or get rashes or other conditions, I can see how that might deter you a little bit, or at least make you choose your camping scenarios differently.
Or even the comfortability of like having your own bed. You know, you need your pillow like this. You need a...
Yes. Not a respirator. Yeah. CPAP. That's the one.
Bane?
Bane. You need to look like Bane from Batman.
I mean, that's not so much of a comfort, but you know, the comfort of being clean, being in your own bed. If you know you're not going to sleep well because you're sleeping on something uncomfortable, or then, you know, I don't know. If you know you're not going to sleep well, it's hard to enjoy yourself. And then after you wake up and you haven't had a good night's sleep, it's hard to enjoy yourself.
Okay. Now, I like to combat this thought for myself, because I know I'm not, I grew up tent camping. I still do it from time to time. I'm still tall and gangly. I'm just a little bit fluffier than I used to be, which may help out on the whole mattress scenario. But at any rate, I kind of get this. It is a thought for me on the how well will I sleep. But for some reason, I can easily overcome that with the thought of, I'm going to be in this epic place. I'm going to see really cool things. I'm going to be detached.
It's worth it.
I'm going to get all these other things. And being tired for some reason is a part of that feeling for me at this point.
That makes sense.
You're tired in a way that I know that I also, when I'm camping, get to take afternoon naps.
That's true. And it's really hard to do at home. I just feel like I don't sleep any worse in a camper or on the floor of a tent than I do at home.
Right. But a hammock, on the other hand, is better.
Yes, absolutely. Moving on with our camping aversions.
Okay. What about the what ifs? What are the scenario based things? I think some people bring that up like, what if it rains?
Anxious driven people who I mean, that comes kind of with the preparedness of it. I mean, you have to.
I think this is valid.
They're all valid.
Yeah. Okay. True.
Because
they're
people
all valid.
feel them.
Okay. I think it's valid, but it can be tempered with some reality.
Yeah.
You've heard me say several times, some of the most difficult camping scenarios, rain flooding out your tent and all that, if you get through it, becomes an incredible memory and story to tell forever and ever. I say it probably every third podcast.
Those incredible stories of, you know, something catastrophic happening or, you know, something crazy happening. Are those the stories that you then tell your children? So then your children now don't want to go camping? Or the stories that get passed down and yeah,
I think my kids are a little bit like me.
Not your kids, just kids in general.
Kids in general. Maybe. Okay, so I'm sick enough to tell anyone's kids about these stories.
I mean, is that where these aversions are coming from? Is from these glorified stories of things going wrong?
Maybe so. I mean, because I've totally had the raining, sleeting, stuck in your tent for a long time, hoping it'll blow over.
I mean, I agree. Those experiences and those stories are good.
Yeah, they're epic.
Because it makes it seem less scary next time. So, you know, like, oh, I've already been through that. So it's not so scary anymore.
Yeah. And I still can find things to look forward to. Like a cold snap in Texas overnight. I showed up in shorts and a t-shirt, and now I wake up to frost on the ground. Cool. This one's going to make a fire that I otherwise wouldn't have out in the morning. You know, a scene.
You're such an optimist.
Not always, but there's something about being drawn outside to camping in cool places with these new experiences. Okay. What about if someone gets hurt? What if? And I'm unprepared. I don't know how to deal with first aid scenarios or worse.
Well, go ahead and check our podcast episode where we talk about first aid at the campground.
Oh, yeah.
No, but so, I think that's something, again, that you just need. If that's something you're worried about, you can be prepared for. I think that's something that I don't think about, which probably I should, because I have 2 little kids who hurt themselves, but I am so unprepared for any type of injury. It's terrifying.
I know what we're getting you for Christmas.
I mean,
we're getting you a basic first aid kit.
I literally bought Band-Aids 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
for the first time ever since I've had kids. We've never had Band-Aids in my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you needed Band-Aids at your house?
Well, they want Band-Aids, but I just tell them no.
Okay. But so there hasn't really been a need up to this point.
I mean, they have scrapes and they have cuts.
Yeah.
But I just wash it and then tell them, no, you don't need a Band-Aid.
Do you leave it open air or do you cover it with something?
No, I just leave it open.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they always want Band-Aids. But I probably shouldn't be telling you, but I'm so when we go camping, it's like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I don't even have an ice pack. We're a big ice pack family. We use ice packs, not Band-Aids.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ice packs are great. So maybe that's what we need to look into for you for these scenarios is a first aid kit.
You need a first aid kit for my trailer?
Yeah, for your trailer. Mind you, some of those things you're going to have to keep turning over, like some of those ointments and all that. They'll have expiration dates, and if they cook in the sun for a while.
We're back to that work thing.
Yeah. Well, let's just start by gifting you a kit and call it good. Because I know for my kids, we've definitely had to pull cactus thorns out. We've definitely had to bandage a few boo-boos.
Yeah.
We've totally had bruises and bonks that have needed ice.
Yeah.
I only had to amputate and cauterize once.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. I hate when you have to do that.
Yeah. No, that didn't happen. But just those minor things.
Yeah. I don't think, obviously it's not an aversion for me. I don't even think about it. Which is the opposite end of the spectrum. Man, I think that this I am like,
well, also along with this, I think that this can be, mitigated to a degree by where you choose to camp. If you're at a state park, or even a county park or something like that, Army Corps of Engineers or whatever, what are they here? CCC, whatever the Corps.
You're doing great.
I'm not doing great. Anyways, you know what parks I'm talking about. I think all these places tend to be pretty well connected. You can find someone to help. You're not that far away from ranger station or something like that. So but relying
on somebody else, I don't know. I still feel like I could step up my game here, and it's not a reason to not go camping.
Right. But when you get comfortable there, then you move on to the national forests and the dispersed camping, and then the BLM land and all that, which is totally on my list. I got to get out there where we're roughing it more. Anyways, okay, moving on.
Speaking of,
yes,
I guess that is part of my fear with off-grid camping is being stranded or being stuck, being the only one there. I guess I feel like I don't have to. I don't know how to start a fire. I know how to start a fire, but
we didn't start the fire
because she doesn't know how to. Somebody, please come start the fire,
and then leave.
I'm cold. But the first aid thing. The weather. I don't feel prepared enough to do that off-grid stuff. And I think being stranded or being stuck can be an aversion for a lot of people with camping.
Maybe we should rent Boy Scouts. They come prepared. They have all the stuff. They're prepared like 3 different ways for every incident. They can start fires. They can bandage wounds. And they can use mirrors to signal for help.
You want to hire Boy Scouts to go camping with you?
They might even go for free.
I know, right? They'll be like, they'll earn our badge.
We'll test them by dressing up as old ladies and see if they are kind enough to walk us across the street.
Wonderful.
I'll go first.
The Boy Scouts just delivered me my popcorn yesterday.
Yeah?
That I bought a month ago.
Did you get like a mixed tin or did you get like,
I got salted caramel popcorn because that's what my kids wanted.
Sounds great.
Yep. We had a handful each for dinner last night.
As a component of dinner?
No,
No, it's the whole dinner.
For dessert, after dinner.
Oh, okay. So I could pull it out of
They
there.
had pizza for dinner. It was very nutritious.
Here's your roasted popcorn.
And Hawk at one point just looks at me and he's like, I can't stop eating this. And I was like,
I know.
yeah,
And
it's good.
I would look at him and be like, I know the feeling, kid.
Yeah.
I know.
Now let's go brush our teeth for 20 minutes.
Oh, gosh. That's actually... Okay, speaking of aversions, that's pretty much my big thing against popcorn. Because I do like popcorn, but I hate getting kernels stuck between my teeth.
See, we're back to the work thing. It's so much. Then you got to go like
And
find
uncomfortable.
floss and
Maybe this is our metaphor for the day. For people who are averse to camping, it's kind of like getting popcorn stuck in your teeth.
yeah,
You know the popcorn's worth it, but you don't want to get started down that path.
yeah. Ooh, we're going deep.
Would you want like some off-grid camping sort of training? Like here's my list of things that I think would be cool to have. Some personalized training on what to do with medical situations or first aid. Some personalized training on just dealing with fire and maybe food storage because you're going to be out there with the actual wilds. What other training would you like heading into?
Just general like emergency preparedness, whether we're
Okay.
talking about weather
Okay.
or weather or a flood or you run out of water or whatever. But I don't even know if that would be enough for me, because then I just feel like people are just talking at me and then I have to remember everything. I'm not one of those people that's like, I have to do it myself. I think I would like to camp in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
with somebody else
Okay.
that I enjoy being around
And there's nothing wrong with that. You should. If
and who knows more than me. And
Okay.
that way,
And lights your fire.
I'm good at some things.
and bandages your band-aids.
They can be good at some things and we can camp together. And I don't know, that being by myself, it doesn't have this draw.
Yeah.
I mean, not at least not in the camping aspect. I love being by myself, but in the camp, I don't need to like camp by myself.
Yeah.
I don't mind having somebody else.
Well, see, I don't think that has to be a component. I think you should camp with other people. And they should all have talents, gifts, and skills.
Mine will be collecting bugs
Okay.
and putting them in a little tin and then letting them go.
Yeah. Will your tin have one of those magnifying lids so you
Yes.
can really stare?
Yes. I have like 15 at my house and
Terrifying
cooking on
those
my
bugs,
fire
like, look at
disc
the big eye.
and the fire disc. I'll cook.
So I actually
you pull up
for
here?
my nephew this year, because he is totally the bug and animal person and all that. So I got a book, and he has lots of books. This book is by Tristan Gooley. And he has books about nature instinct and how to read weather and stuff like that.
Ooh, this is cool. The nature instinct. Learn to find direction, sense danger, and even guess nature's next move. Faster than thought. Natural navigation. That's cool as heck.
Yes. So there's some resources out there. I'm actually going to link to this one because I was interested in it. I got it for my nephew for Christmas. Don't listen to this podcast yet, nephew. And
Does your family listen to this podcast?
some in my family do. But
Really?
It's not my side. It's Laura's side.
Okay, who? So I can say hi to him.
George in particular.
Hey, George.
So George listens. And when he's listening, sometimes Nathan is around.
Hey, Nathan.
And I do believe that Britt and Tanya have heard an
Hey,
episode.
Britt and Tanya. You know, I don't think any of my family listens.
No, Jackie listens.
Does she?
Yeah.
Hey, Jackie. Anyway, honestly, this is really cool. I'm going to look into this
I'll try to link a few of Tristan Gooley's titles. I will say this.
in the show notes.
Yeah. They are not kids' books.
Right.
He writes them kind of from his background, his stories as how he either learned these things. So it's cool, but they're thick books and they're small print.
Okay.
So just so you know.
Good to know.
Okay, back to our list of, aversions.
We talked about being stranded and stuck, and the reason that scares me is because I don't know enough. So not knowing things can definitely be an aversion for people, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't know what are some of the things that you've heard that people just don't know how to do, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't know how.
Right.
I mean, besides just camping in general, towing.
Yeah. And our minds go to worst case scenarios so fast.
So often. How do we do that? Maybe it's a survival thing, but...
Yeah, I think it's a survival mechanism, but...
It's stupid is what it is.
It's got us to this point in human history.
Yeah.
So I think, the basics of, will I be able to start a fire if I need a fire? Will I be able to handle getting lost and getting back, or nature in general? Okay, moving on.
And even quote unquote sillier things like dealing with the black tank. I mean, do you remember the first time that I dumped?
No.
I do, because I called PJ and she was here with you, and I was just like, I did it.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, why would you call? But I was proud of myself because I didn't know what I was doing, and it was kind of this like, oh my God, everyone's looking at me and waiting for me, and if I do it wrong, I mean, we're talking about poop here.
Yeah.
You know?
Were there other people at the dump station?
Yeah.
Oh, there were?
Yeah, waiting behind me, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm one of those people who does not care what people think, but I also want to do things correctly, and I want to not make everybody else inconvenienced. So
understood. Yeah.
I feel like there are people out there who probably don't go camping because they're afraid of dumping their black tank, or don't know how to make reservations.
Okay.
Or camp etiquette. I mean, there's so many unspoken rules that you just kind of learn.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, then then
it looks like a big mountain.
Yes.
Of things, of different topics.
Yes.
And you don't know where to start. You don't know your entry point. I get it.
I can understand that type of anxiety. Maybe not with those things, but thank you. Anxiety in general over these little things that seem bigger than they are.
So I think that's a good word there that you've brought up there. Anxiety. We build ourselves up on the front end of the possibility of going camping. In fact, a lot of people won't consider camping just because the thought of it induces anxiety.
Yeah, but you know what's really good for anxiety?
What is that?
Doing the damn thing. And see, this is when camping with a friend is so helpful.
Yeah.
Find that Facebook group and ask them all the quote unquote silly questions that you have.
Yeah.
Or, hey, does anybody want to meet up and go camping with me?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
You know, I think that the one thing that I've heard maybe too many podcasts about this.
Well, absolutely.
Recently.
You've heard too many podcasts about everything.
Yeah. Is exposure therapy. You know, and there's different ways and philosophies of how to do exposure therapy, but as you said, doing the thing.
The thing.
If you have an aversion to it, then there's different degrees of how to go ahead and do it and find your way, your path in that activity or what have you.
You know what my mom always told me when I was scared to do things when I was a kid? I remember she always used to like talk to people like order at a restaurant. I remember she was like, I'm not going to order for you anymore. Now you have to order. And it being this big deal for some reason, and I didn't want to do it. And she said, Lindsay, think about the worst thing that could possibly happen, right?
Right.
You say, I want a cheeseburger and french fries. What is the worst thing in your head that that waitress could do or say?
Oh, definitely. One slice of cheese or two.
What?
You weren't supposed to talk back to me.
And then you think about it, and whatever you come up with isn't actually that bad. Now, when you think about what is the worst thing that could happen when you're camping, there are some pretty bad things that could happen. But if you break it down to what you are actually scared of, what is the worst thing that could happen if you don't dump your black tank correctly? Well, you could make a mess.
On yourself.
You could
wear that mess home.
Make the people behind you wait a few more minutes, you know?
Yeah.
But both of those things, while not ideal, you're not, they're in the grand scheme of the world, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. So now I try to think of things, break them down. What is the worst that could happen? It's usually not that bad. And then think about the likelihood of that happening is usually pretty small.
And there's always this too shall pass.
Yeah.
You know, these moments are moments. Time marches on.
It seems like such a big deal at the time, but then it's over and you're like, oh, okay.
And then you
moving on to the next thing.
deal with it and you decide, okay, is this a story I tell others?
Right.
Or not?
Or is this something that I now realize I can do, or something I just don't want to do again?
Mm-hmm.
Cooking was a big one for me. It's kind of still is. You know, I've never cooked in my camper.
Okay.
I mean, I've cooked on my fire disc, and even that is a learning curve, and I need to practice more because it's...
Well, that's the beauty of a fire disc. You can do that at home.
I know. I should. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's at my parents'
this
house.
weekend.
Oh, okay. Sure. But cooking, and it's the... At home, I have my countertops.
Right.
I have my oven, my stove, my microwave. I can,
Yeah.
move this from there to there. I have my countertops, and then I can, clean everything up in a normal way. When you're camping, it's like I have to plan ahead on exactly how many pots and pans is this going to take, and how much room do I have? I mean, I guess I'm just a snob when it comes to cooking because I'm just used to having this room. And when I don't have the room, I feel like I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
and I get that.
Maybe I'm trying to cook the wrong things.
Maybe not. I mean, but I get that food and cooking outdoors and all that is a true experience that a lot of people really gravitate to, especially in the age of social media. But for me, I never have put all that much value. I'm fine with just the easiest, most basic of sandwiches and granola and stuff like that because I'm just out there.
Well, and I think for a long time it was this, I want to make a camping meal because we're camping.
Right.
Now I flip-flop between I want to make a camping meal and I want to eat Easy Mac so that I can sit outside and do more of the nothing that I'm here to do. And I think we talked about that on a previous episode, right?
We did.
About, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. You get to camp however you want. But I think maybe the fear of cooking and cleaning up, especially if you don't have an indoor kitchen. Oh, now I need a bucket of water and I need to wash everything. I mean, it is very intimidating. Yeah. To somebody who is used to just cooking in a kitchen. It's very different.
I'm so much more. I always grew up wanting to do the backpacking type camping, you know, the long trails and all that. In which case you pack in and you pack out everything.
Yeah.
You're not, I mean, your water that you're going to utilize, you're probably finding along your way and all that. So just knowing that that's the bent I've always had, I've been so simple that now, if we go camping with a family and we have a trailer that has stove and all that, we have to determine, I think, like there's going to be one cooked meal. Like we're going to do this. We're going to have one cooked meal because there's something special about having a nice meal outside. It
tastes different, right?
It's fantastic. It is. But I'm not going to go over the top. It's going to be something I can accomplish or Laura can accomplish. But it's going to probably be just one. The rest of the time, it's going to be super easy, and it's going to be more the style of what I grew up with, tent camping. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I wonder how that is for like people who do long stays in their trailer or live in their trailer. I mean, like I bet
I think that's it. People who go out longer than I do, that makes perfect sense. That they have a different
way of cooking in their camper,
right? And okay, because that's more living the lifestyle.
But if you are wanting to take really long trips or live in your camper, I can see how cooking would be a big aversion to that.
Okay.
Because you have to do it, right? I mean, you can't not do it, but it's such a big chunk and it's so different than what you're used to. I can see how it would be like intimidating.
So. Yeah, I can see it too. Cool. What else? So have we kind of ventured into what more aversions to actual RVing style camping?
Oh, we did make that transition, I suppose.
Okay. All right. I think that one of those also is maybe, what about the stereotypes? I don't want to be like them. we have
Be like what?
like the RVing crowd.
Oh,
And I didn't say that me personally. I'm saying that this is something that I think could be said out there in the forums. Well, I just don't want to be an RVer. If I'm going to camp, I want to camp. And then you start going through this whole grading procedure of, well, that's not camping. Ho, ho, ho. Or this is camping.
well, that's the one-upping nature, like the human nature, just like anything you can do, I can do
and
better.
it goes both ways. It's either no, my setup's better because I have the more gear, the more stuff, or no, I camp better because I actually
not
camp.
Camping.
Yeah. And so we've segmented ourselves and we see this. I don't want, when it comes to the RVing world, some people don't want to venture into RVing because they don't want to be seen as RVers.
They don't want to choose that side.
Yeah.
Well,
this is a point of caring when you don't need to.
You're right.
And
it's funny. I feel like the world has gone a little bit that way since like the beginning of the coronavirus. I feel like the world is taking more of a I don't care what you think approach.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of ways is really good, like this.
Yeah.
But I definitely still see this, camp, like where you camp. Oh, you only camp in RV parks with full hookups.
Then
that's my
then that's
preferred
what
way
you
of
do.
camping.
Yeah. Then that's what you do. Yeah. I think I'm fine in either camp, literally, because I still like to go out with my kids and do.
Because you're not in your house.
Yeah. And I have a trailer now. It's a more basic trailer. It's a box.
Yeah.
With sleeping spaces and a sink. And that's pretty much it. But it's a really nice box.
It is a really nice box.
And I can haul stuff easily because the whole backside folds
down. So
you're
going to
like
take your motorcycle next time?
That's actually, if you saw my search history on Amazon, I'm looking for how I'm going to tie the thing down inside.
Because somebody asked the other day, oh, he has a toy hauler. Does he have any toys to haul? And I was like, no, he just takes his cat. Wait.
Yes, now he does.
He does have a toy now.
Yeah. Before the motorcycle, I had all my kids' toys.
Yeah.
So,
anyway.
Anywho, and I guess another fear when it comes to RVing is again the learning curve. How do you manage the RV life, the planning, the reservations, the travel? I mean, every component of that.
I'm still living that.
Yeah.
I work at an RV dealership and I'm still living that. Not only that, but like how you operate things when you get there. The intimidation of how do I fill up the water? How do I turn on the water? Why is my water heater not working? Yeah. What is my fridge even running on?
Yeah. Even just break it down to, well, if I'm filling up the water, when do I fill up? Before the trip, after the trip, or after I've arrived?
There's so many questions.
And I think that's part of the thing that people who really stick with the lifestyle, they figured out that there's this dealing with the unknown that is actually exciting, because there is no trip is going to be exactly the same. And it happens over and over, and where you're having to pivot.
There's a problem solving aspect to camping
Super
that
engaging.
Never goes away.
Yeah.
You can know everything and you're still going to have to do some problem solving. And I think for some people that is a really exciting thing.
Right.
And for other people, that's a really scary thing.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's exactly spot on.
Wait, I'm right?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I know I'm right.
All right. So where do all these, where do you think these fears and aversions come from? Do you think that they're just kind of ingrained human traits? Some of them?
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, okay. How many movies can you name where if there is camping in a movie, then there is conflict at the campsite.
That's right. If there's camping in a movie or a TV show, you're exactly right. There's going to be
a snake in the tent,
right?
Air mattress on the water, a
dumping scenario.
Yes.
Any RV movie, you have to have a dumping scenario.
Just poop everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. You also have to have a highway scene where it's dangerous, where you're trying to pass one, or a gang of bikers comes up, and you have to have that scene.
So it's hard because you obviously know these things aren't real and they're in movies. However, it's just like anything else. When you see it over and over and over and over and over, all of a sudden it doesn't look so fun, right? Like the spider crawling across the person's face while they're sleeping, or that just doesn't happen. I mean, it does, but it's not going to happen to you.
Right.
Yeah. So movies, TV shows, social media,
news stories. Like anytime there's an animal incident, a bear, a mountain lion, or something like that. Anytime that happens, it's national, it's international news. But if you run the numbers, those instances are so rare.
But nobody's going to report on the
someone went out and had an uneventful trip. They got a blister on their heel.
Yeah, right.
Because that happens when you hike.
Or just like even legends, like bad things happen in the woods.
Yeah.
Scary things are in the woods.
Scary people are in the woods.
Scary things happen when you're alone, when it's dark. I mean, it's not natural to run towards those things when everything tells us that those things are scary.
Yeah. And it's so easy to think on the most catastrophic negative scenario. Why do our brains enjoy chasing those squirrels?
It's the weirdest thing.
We are not so good naturally, it seems like, to chase the squirrels that go up the tree. We want to chase the squirrels going down.
And yeah, like I said before, the last one I can think of is like family stories. Like your dad, my
uncle stories.
Yeah, like, oh, when I was a kid, I went camping and this crazy thing happened. Well, you tell me that when I'm 6, and then again when I'm 8, and then again when I'm, 10, and all of a sudden I'm 13 years old and I don't want to go camping.
Right.
But not to say people need to stop telling those stories, because please don't. Please keep telling those stories.
Right. They're legendary.
Yes. But all of those things combined, I think some people, if they don't come from a camping background, would have all of these thoughts in their head about these things that could happen.
Yeah.
Like a tarantula crawling across your face.
Okay. Which again, you enjoy.
I don't know about enjoy, but I think I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
It'd probably tickle.
Oh, I'm certain. Okay. Well, how about we wrap this one up? And well, even before we do, can we reiterate how worth it is to go do this?
Yeah, we did not mean to scare you.
That's what I think that's the parts that's missing in our, family uncle told stories. Is we get to that point, but we never tell the and I kept doing it because I love it, and I kept going, and I get my piece out there, or that's just it. We're missing this component.
So here's the deal: we need to keep telling those crazy stories, and I need to keep telling the crazy stories that somebody else told me, and then we need to include like a good story too, or where it was worth it, or this is what I learned from that, so that will never happen again because I learned. And let's create a whole atmosphere of, you're darn right, it's scary. Let's go.
You know what? And if you're out there and one of these people who just has a straight
send them our way,
or even schedule
a camping trip
and take them. Make it easy. Go a place go into a situation that you can control a little bit more, and make a nice weekend.
Make a camper out of somebody.
Yeah.
That would make me so happy.
Maybe that's the 2022 thing.
Maybe that's a New Year's resolution.
Is to make a
turn somebody from a non-camper into a camper.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Help someone down that path. Don't take them. Don't dive in the deep end.
So it's going to be like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, but like camper edition.
Okay, sure. I don't know.
Yes, like a camping makeover.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, that is it for this week's episode of the RV Small Talk podcast. We thank you for joining us. Don't forget that you can check us out at rvsmalltalk.com. Don't forget that you can join us on Facebook at RV Small Talk Community. And
you can always send questions, comments. Let us have them at questions@rvsmalltalk.com, or you could call and leave us a voice message. We want to hear from you. 512-843-1311. 512-843-1311. If you have something you want to talk about, a question for us, send it over.
Everybody, thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
I'm going to go have a spider crawl on my face.